So this guy's walking down the street and he sees a sign in a bar that says, Legends drink for free. And he goes in and goes, hey, so what's this Legends deal? He goes, bartender says, we have a little test. If you pass this, 3-pronged test, you are considered a legend and you can come drink here for free anytime you want. The guy's like, what is it? Step 1, you got to drink 10 shots back to back to back of the nastiest swill water. I mean, it makes Jägermeister, look like, Diet Fresca. I mean, it is nasty, nasty. And you got to do 10 shots. Then in the back alley, we have the meanest junkyard dog that you have to pull an infected tooth out of his mouth with your bare hands. Then upstairs at the brothel, you got to fuck the skankiest, nastiest whore that they have there. And guy's like, you know what? Let's do this. Bartender lines up the 10 shots, downs them all, and each one is more wretched than the next. Then he goes, all right, let me go take a look at that dog. And he goes out in the back alley. They shut the door, and they hear... The guy comes in, and he's like all bloody, and his clothes are ripped to shreds. And then he says, so where's that whore with the infected tooth? See, because yeah.
Oops.
So, Joe,
wait a second. Wait. That last joke was like 5 minutes long, and now you're going to just jump right into another. The applause hasn't died down from the first joke, and then you just nosediving right into the second joke.
I don't even know if it's a joke. It was just a question. What is the difference between a burger and a blowjob?
What?
You want to go to lunch? See the long setup, and then
yep.
Nothing.
Hey, welcome everybody.
I'm Jacques,
and I'm sad. Just sad.
That handsome hunk of man over there is Joe, and this is Carnival Personnel. And Joe, I'm old.
How old are you?
50.
Wow.
By the posting of this, it will be the eve of my 50th. I'm 50, and I can kick. Is that Shannon?
It's Molly Shannon.
Molly Shannon. Yeah.
I'm 50. I like to kick, stretch, and kick.
That used to be one of...
I love it. I love it. I love it.
We used to joke about that skit all the time, management and I, when we were in our late 30s, and thought, hey, that's really funny.
That's real far away and never happening to us.
I can't kick. So hats off to her character who's 50 and could. No, I'm old. I don't know. Technically, am I in the and there were wolves territory, or do I got a ways to go?
You got a ways to go. You haven't staked out a space next to the staring window yet.
You don't know that. I do have a lawn, but I have yet to tell kids to get off of it. So.
I think that's what I'm going to get you for your 50th, a roll-up lawn to just carry with you, even with like a mailbox to put on it or something.
Just so I could, and I don't get freaked out by birthdays, but that's a pretty big number. That's a big round number. I mean, I'm without a doubt so much closer to death.
So what's it like at the top of the hill?
It's scary looking down because it looks like a ski slope, No, I'd say it's, but I still don't act a day over 48. I'm still here doing this chuckle fest with you. 2 weeks from yesterday, Dan, Sean, and I will be playing at Sally O'Brien's in your beloved Somerville. I'm 100% sure where Sally O'Brien's is.
It's probably Davis Square. Everything's in
Sally
Davis
O'Brien.
Square. I don't know who that is. I mean, there's probably 8 Sally O'Brien's on that block.
I mean,
or were.
There is another bar in Boston called O'Brien's that has lots of bands. So got to be really clear that this is Sally O'Brien's in Somerville.
Okay.
It was nice. Sean actually showed up for the practice this week. I think it was the longest jam that we've ever had with Sean since coming back. And it's only been, a few shows, but Semi showed up on time, only about an hour after Dan did. But it was nice because him and his girlfriend realized, they missed the window to leave to beat traffic, so they might as well stay till 7:38. And So it was a nice long jam. We're going to suck, but
So it's just going to be you.
it's just going to just sucking. No, I will all suck collect.
So it'll be Dan Cray and Beyond Id.
Yes.
And nobody else?
The great Rationales and our friend Dave, friend of the show.
Dave Mirabella from the Rationales.
I don't know why. He's always really liked us, and he's a real fan of like Dan, and he actually asked, is there a couple songs I can sit in on? And it always goes back and forth a little bit because he is, what's that word? Good. He's like really, really good. And sometimes I feel it's like, we're just holding this, it's
even musicians, as you know, need the ugly best friend next to them.
That's us. Yeah. So, and again, much like yourself, don't really like leaving the humble abode, but I do like seeing the Rationales.
But Dan loves it. Dan Cray
loves it. Can't get
it.
Enough.
Right.
Nope.
I mean, he gets sorrowful thinking about having to go back home to his loving family and comfort.
No, that's his family having the sorrow of him coming back and not leaving. Same with my sad family. Well, my family isn't sad, but they're just sad when I'm there.
Right.
You don't know that feeling.
Oh, yes, I do. Oh, yes, I do.
So very, very much looking forward to that. So, but it is. But I'm old, Joe. I'm officially old. When you're 50, you're old.
Yeah, I can't wait for that to happen to me. I'm not making it to 50. I'm sorry. I'm on borrowed time now. I'm 41 and borrowed time. Right.
But that's the thing. It's like, when you're 50, I'll be pushing 60. So you can always feel better about yourself that, you're not the oldest friend you have.
Yeah, you're not pushing 50. You're pulling 40. That's what I think.
I'm pulling about 80. And, I didn't even know I put it on the list. But, yeah, the boys got their first haircut this traumatic. Like, for the oldest one, it was traumatic because he's never not had hair that went past his shoulders, ever. Like, he came out of the womb looking like Thor, the crying, not the fat Thor.
Right, I was thinking which one. Yeah.
Not the Lebowski, Thor. For a good cause, donating it, or how does Gilbert say it? Guilt that makes you cut your hair.
All right, that's the kind of guilt that makes you build hospitals. Well, good. I mean, they needed a boy's haircut. Now they look normal.
No, they still don't, because one of them has the clown hair, and the other one is so the youngest one went from looking like Jay Mascis of Dinosaur Jr. with the hair down to his butt to looking like a beetle. Kind of, the long haired by 60s standards,
yes.
Sort of thing. But, it's
George Steinbrenner would still make him get a haircut.
Yeah, no, seriously, he could not play first base,
for the 1980s Yankees.
Well, wasn't that mustaches too? Wasn't a big thing when they got
the sideburns and mustaches, right?
Dave Mattingly came to the Yankees. He was a free
Don Mattingly.
Don Mattingly, who's always had the big, the I'm really trying to be the cop for the Village People mustache type look. And I think that was got like an exception or something like that.
Well, that was a source of parody on The Simpsons when they all had Mr. Burns's Ringer team, where he recruited he recruited all the top players of the of Major League Baseball at the time, and he was yelling at Don Mattingly, "Cut your hair, you hippie!" He comes back. Mattingly's got literal where his sideburns were up from that were shaved. It was like a reverse mohawk kind of thing. And he's like, "I told you to cut your hair." And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
The Isotopes?
Yes, the Springfield Isotopes.
Okay,
yeah, good for you. Homer at the bat. What was the name of the episode? We're talking softball.
I know the song, but
there was a parody. It was I think it was the same guy who performed the original who did the parody of
really. That's
talking
great.
Baseball. Instead
he could free up the time in his schedule. He had.
I don't even know the guy's name because as much of the little I know about sports, I know even less about 70s rock, or early 80s rock.
Joe, I can't stop talking or thinking about Endgame. I'm that movie. So I'm watching it again last night because
that was the Avengers one.
That was the Avengers.
Okay.
So, so no, last night I watched Infinity War again after watching Captain Marvel because I got that kind of time on a Friday night. Sadly, I did. And I'm like, oh, then it was making me think when Steve Rogers had to go back and do the different timelines and return all the stones. I mean, this is one of those ones where, yeah, the first 3 times I didn't think about it, but when he had to go bring the soul gem back, is Romanoff still dead at the end of, like, does he look over the pier and there's like the corpse of Romanoff just down there? And then I'm like, oh, fuck. The guide who brings you to the top of the mountain when you get the soul gem, it's Red Skull.
Yeah.
His nemesis, his arch enemy from World War II. And it's like, well, that's got to be an odd.
There must be like a deposit box that he just puts the stone in. And like, you don't need a lot of face-to-face interaction.
But honestly, I don't anticipate not obsessing about the movie. And then the same thing.
Wait, time out. About the Soul Stone thing.
Yeah.
So now I'm in this weird time travel paradox. Why did they have to return the Soul Stone? Because they rightfully gained the Soul Stone. So wasn't that like a no return policy?
That was the whole thing, that the stones had to be returned, like in the timeline, like where they got them.
That might be a plot hole. Because, I mean...
But now you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Obsession Club.
I know. Well, what I'm obsessing over is why didn't Luke's metal hand disappear? Like, why did it disappear when he died at the end of Last Jedi? Where was his metal hand?
Or it should have just fallen off and just...
Yeah. That wasn't part of Luke. Did he really go away? Where's the metal hand, Jacques?
Oh, see, I was going to say, I don't think I'm going to stop obsessing about Endgame until Star Wars comes out. But the last thing that I thought also this week, or I didn't think about this. I have enough fucking problems to think about. I don't need management helping. She says to me today, oh, yeah, who's the actor who played the Big Lebowski?
Jeff Daniels.
Not
Jeff Daniels.
No.
What the Jeff. Oh, my God. What an asshole.
Right. I can't think of it either.
No, it's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, shut up. Come on, man.
Who played the Big Lebowski?
It was, he's in Iron Man 2.
Well, that's what she was saying. He's in Iron Man 1. He's the bad guy in the first Iron Man. And then he's referenced in the last one a number of times, Yeah. His character, like Lebowski. Not Jeff Daniels. We both.
You just looked it up.
No, but it did. She didn't. Siri. I'm referring to Siri.
Well,
sentient being.
They.
The Big Lebowski cast list.
Yeah, it's Jeff. Yeah, isn't it Jeff Daniels? No, not Jeff Daniels is the Dumb and Dumber guy. The hell. I hate myself.
Yes, you're dumb. I'm even dumber. Bridges.
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges.
My God.
But yeah, so Jeff Bridges is in the first, is in the thing that starts it all, and he's referenced a number of times in the last one. I mean, it's all those little tie-ins and callbacks and stuff like that that just... And then I was upset again watching Infinity War, thinking about when Endgame comes out, that in Captain Marvel, Agent Coulson plays a big part. So, and Captain Marvel. So it's not like, oh, they forgot to add him because he was a huge fan favorite. They just omitted him. They just didn't have him. And that last scene at Tony Stark's funeral where they're panning through the different Marvel families, and you see, Nick Fury there with, I forget the agent's name. How I Met Your Mother. I'm awful name.
Sarah Paulson.
So, yeah. Colson, the two of them, she was really close with Colson. You figured, well, that would be the Shield family. You know what I mean? It's like, just that one, was that fucking too much to ask? Fuck that movie. I'm never watching it again more than 1,000 times. And,
you love that movie 1,000.
I do love that. And I think we talked about it. We talked about this week. I was reading about that. That's a little thing that Robert Downey Jr. and his kids have been doing forever. I'm like, that's great.
That's very lovely.
It really is that they brought that. But this is my life. How
many movies can you see in one lifetime? I mean, not that many.
If I see the same 50 movies 1,000 times over, but I did see Godzilla this week. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are you going to go see Godzilla?
No, I'm not a big Godzilla fan. And this one, from what I understand, is, it's all right, not good, not bad.
I will sum it up. They bought their tickets. They knew what they were getting into.
Yeah, it has Millie Bobby Brown in it, right?
No, it has the girl who played 11.
Oh, that girl. That's a different one. Yeah. What was I thinking? Jeff Bridges. Jeff Daniels.
So, no, she was great at it. Spoiler alert, the city of Boston gets leveled. Leveled.
Oh, it takes place in Boston?
Yeah, part of it takes place all over the world. There's monsters all literally. Oh, we got to go to the Antarctica. Oh, we got to go to China.
How cute.
Oh, we got to go to Boston.
They made a green monster come and destroy the green monster. Did they destroy Fenway Park?
Do you want me to ruin it for you?
You're not ruining it for me. You're ruining it for the audience.
I will say Fenway Park played a very big, literally it played a very prominent role in the movie.
Fair enough. Good.
But, it was just, it's a Godzilla movie. I loved it, because I went in. You know what I was hoping to see when I went to see this?
A Godzilla movie.
And I got exactly what I paid for. Went to the matinee, so it only cost $30 to take the little guys to see it. It was a big CGI, big kaiju movie. They found a way to get almost all the monsters in there. There was one main monster from our childhood not in there, referenced several times.
Does it rhyme with Hothra?
No.
Oh.
No. Ping pong balls.
Well, that's the follow-up. I think King Kong versus Godzilla.
They couldn't have made it more clear. They didn't say at the end of the movie, hey, everybody.
It's like at the end of Airplane 2, which you probably didn't see. After the end credits, they say, stay tuned, coming soon, Airplane 3.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Didn't happen, though.
Did not happen. No. Airplane 2 wasn't awful as far as it wasn't
just
Meatballs 2.
It was more of the same.
Right. But
of course I saw Airplane 2 before I saw Airplane 1, so
I would be disappointed if it was any
if
other
there
way.
is an Airplane 3 that comes out, like say they lose their minds and decide, you know what, we're going to do Airplane 3 in 2021. I'm going to make sure that my sons see Airplane 3 first, then see Airplane 2, and then see Airplane. Now you're probably saying to yourself, wait a minute, they haven't seen Airplane yet? No, because I don't love them.
And Joe's, for the record, Joe's sons still can't believe that Michael Jackson was able to write so many songs based off the work of Weird Al Yankovic. So I liked it. And I will say, I'm surprised you weren't a Creature Double feature guy.
Yeah, I wasn't a big monster movie guy. I just like dumb sitcoms and childish things. But even the childish things, like I didn't watch Transformers and He-Man to death. I didn't watch G.I. Joe a lot. It was just too action-y for me. I liked dumb stuff, and I still like dumb. I mean, I watched fucking game shows. Yeah.
I don't know where I rank it, but Godzilla's cry or his phantom scream or whatever you want. It's such a part of my childhood, and I'm glad that it's like it's not edited. They didn't do a different version of it. You got the same.
Yeah, they just like went to the master tape of the original movie and just sampled that.
What is that Wilkes something scream?
Oh, the Wilhelm
scream. Ah! that has been used in every single Star Wars.
But it harkened back to the 50s.
Right. And if you Wikipedia that, it has been used in over 1,000 movies and TV shows, but it's great. I don't know if it's been used. I'm quite sure it's been used in the Clone Wars, but not every episode of the Clone Wars, but every iteration, even on the holiday special. Even on the holiday special when they knocked the stormtrooper off the porch at Chewbacca's house. Yes. You still had that
the Wilhelm scream.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. So when you hear that scream, it's just, it's great. I mean, I love it. And like I said, management had some issues with the movie, but
is it because she read the book first?
Yeah, and you know how I know she read the book first? But it's great because I don't want to make this a male-female thing, but coincidentally, my buddy Ron saw the movie the same day with his kids, and he's like, dude, it was awesome. I was like, yes, it was. It was borderline awful some if you want to poke holes at
Well, what's better, this Godzilla movie or Atlantic Rim?
Well, Atlantic Rim is just like straight up awful.
I would dare say there should not be a sum in that word.
I think the quintessential difference between the new Godzilla and Atlantic Rim is Godzilla did have actors in it.
Right. Right.
I mean, yeah. I think
they weren't just baristas that they got.
Who wants to be in a movie?
Yeah.
You have any acting experience? No, none.
Right.
You are perfect.
I twirl signs on the street corner. You're in.
So that's let's see that. Oh, the other thing I did this week, I dove into binge listened a little bit to Al Franken's podcast.
Oh. How is that?
You might find this a little shocking, but he's really smart.
Is he funny too?
He is very, very funny.
Well, if he could dance, that's a triple threat right there.
He is good enough.
And smart enough.
Gosh darn it.
Some people like him.
Some
people.
He had Sarah Silverman on, who, and I mean this, I like most of the people I've had serious relationships with in my life, crazy smart people, either male or female. Like most of the people I like to surround myself with. And she's somebody I've always really liked. She is crazy smart. Like she's not like intelligent or has a few ideas and opinions
she's
that
not
I
just
like.
Woke.
No, she is absolutely crazy smart. And what I like is when somebody really smart, two smart people sit down and have a conversation about getting punched in the face. And Sarah Silverman has been punched in the face 3 times in her life.
Wow.
And she says, yeah, she got that from her father, who's a screaming liberal from like New Hampshire. And he goes out of his way to get punched in the face, she says. And so she tells the first thing that Al Franken asked is like, how many were from Jimmy Kimmel? Like the first thing. And she says, and so here's something funny. You ever seen the movie The Way of the Gun?
No.
The Way of the Gun, I've always loved the opening of it. It's two long-haired kids like in a big parking lot sitting, talking, and one of them is like sitting on a car. And from 50 yards away, you hear a gang of people like, hey, scumbag, get the fuck off my car. And they just ignore them. And the crowd of people come and circle them. And like some greaser car club, like, douchebag guys. And, it's just 2 against like 50. And the guys are unfazed, the 2 guys leaning up against this dickhead's car. And his girlfriend is just running her fucking mouth. My boyfriend's going to... The movie was like 20 years old. And they square off. The guys square off to fight. And the kid hauls off and he punches the girl right in the face. And the thing is, he knew he was going to get his ass kicked, but he's like, I'm going to fucking shut this bitch up. It's like, bam. And you don't expect it. Like, you don't ever expect in a movie to see a woman get... That's Sarah Silverman. And on the last take, the actor... And it's like her first big... So I've always loved her. I've always loved that movie. But, when that movie came out, she wasn't established yet.
It's got to be like mid-90s.
Yeah. And I mean, it's always been one of my scenes because that's the scene before the opening credits. Like that sets the tone. It's called The Way of the Gun. And like I said, both guys like just haul off and they punch the guys who are going to kick their asses' girlfriends right in the face. Yes.
And she really got punched in the face.
Like on the last take. And she says, and the actor punched her. Oh, not huge, but a known guy. She said...
Was it Jimmy Kimmel?
It was not Jimmy Kimmel. She said, I wasn't unconscious, but I did get knocked off my feet. And, I wanted to cry so bad, but he was already crying, so I instantly had to fall into the, it's okay, I'm fine. I didn't even get to cry when I got punched in the face. And then broke out the other time. But it was the Al Franken thing. It's like you're listening to it, and it's crazy smart with crazy smart guests, and there's no yelling. There's no, it's even keeled and stuff.
So it's worth a listen.
It is worth a listen, and it's worth him running again. It truly is.
Yeah, maybe give it another 4 years.
I think so.
Yeah. But first of all, if he's going to run, he's going to run for senator, or is he going to go straight for the moon? Secondly, if he is, wait this one out.
You mean Mars?
Right. Well, that's a different story.
Okay.
That's a different story. I don't know. Sometimes, with the moon of which Mars is part of. Or
it's still true.
Yeah, I know. That's a whole other thing for a whole other truth and universe.
But it's funny. And again, I'm not going to dive down this rabbit hole. I didn't even put it on the list, but one of the Trump advisors who was interviewed a dozen times in the Mueller investigation and got immunity for a lot of his crimes was arrested again this week going through Dallas in Washington, with child porn. And he had been arrested several times in his life and done jail time for child porn in the past. He's the one who put together that meeting in the Shea cells with Betsy DeVos's brother, who runs Blackwater, the private army type thing.
All righty.
And he was a spokesperson, and we talked about it a long time ago, like during the transition. Remember, there was a big red flag that the king of the UAE or Dubai flew to a private airport in New Jersey and came to Trump Tower. And diplomats of that level, like heads of state, aren't supposed to come to the United States without letting the State Department know and go through proper channels to make sure that we have security for them. It's like Obama's still president. Anything happens to this guy, it's on the Obama administration. And that's why you don't just show up at Buckingham Palace and say, oh, I'm here and I'm the king of Uruguay, anything like that. But it was a private meeting, and the guy who brokered that secret meeting, to have him come here, he also represented, lo and behold, a lot of Russian interest, which is why he was, anyways. Guys like that can get high-level jobs in the administration, having gone to jail for child porn before, but yet Al Franken is
he's a pariah among his peers,
unfortunately. But
not just his detractors.
But still watch.
Listen.
Well, you can watch it. You can. I'm
going to watch you listen to it.
And the last thing that I have before the awful, which is awful. You see the televangelist get interviewed this week? Please tell me you saw the clip.
Yeah, I don't know his name, I don't know his church, but he apparently used church funds to buy a fourth private jet or something, or maybe just
from Tyler Perry.
All right, it was Tyler Perry. He gave him a steal of a deal. He could not buy the jet.
Yeah, it takes a lot of money to do. I don't know what my favorite part of the interview was. I do know my favorite part. As this old man was getting so upset and pointing his bony finger right in the reporter's face.
Who's like a young 20-something woman.
Unflinching. She didn't flinch. She didn't get upset. She stayed completely composed as he became unraveled. I think my second favorite part is, first he told her what nice eyes she had.
She's Asian.
Then he called
I'm not joking,
her
she's Asian,
sweetheart.
Yeah.
And then, was it like baby? He had three, really, we're still...
The holy trinity of offensive?
While you're being interviewed, you're hitting on this woman and using out,
Did he say so or anything to reference the Asian part?
But it was great. He was, and she's just unflinching and says, doesn't Scripture say that it's easier for a poor man to get into heaven than it is for a camel to get through the eye of a needle in a storm or something like that.
And then he gets all indignant and points her fingers don't you ever accuse me of unlawfully the long and the short of it. I'm paraphrasing here.
I think he did say how to blah, blah, blah. I think, dude, that was great. That was one of the highlights, just to see him get that unraveled, and
Well, great. And so we showed him, right, world? Right money that keeps coming to him every single second of the day.
Do you blame him? I mean, seriously, if people are that dumb.
Well, no, yeah, I kind of blame him. Yeah, I mean, you can blame them. You can blame, there are idiots who are, okay. I'll say simple folk, because I'm an idiot, and I don't give my money to a televangelist yet. But there are people who put their faith and money into these people on TV, and they're usually older people, and, it's like almost like QVC in a way. It's the same sort of shut-in, but then it's not really shut-in because these people eventually go to their mega churches. Like they get up and have a pilgrimage, whether it be every week or every so often when these large mega church rallies are held, and they spend their money on these folks in person, and they happily donate. They tithe, as it were.
You know what's interesting about mega churches is they're not all in Arkansas or Flatwoods, Kentucky. The LA Forum, the fabulous Forum, 20 years ago, when the Staples Center was built, and the Forum almost became obsolete, it's a mega church. I mean, the Forum is packed every week. The other thing is the Forum, sidebar, most bands rather play at the Forum than the Staples Center because of the acoustics are really great in the Forum. Like bands like Rush and stuff like that, or even the Police, would not play in the Staples Center but yeah, even in Los Angeles, there's a mega church, and you're talking like 20,000 people show up.
Think of the tax money that they're contributing to the country.
And then wait a minute.
Hold on a second. They don't pay taxes. They're like Amazon.
The other
is Amazon a religion now?
To some people it is. I mean, honestly, I think management praise to Jeff Bezos. I mean, the number of Amazon packages that show up at our house weekly, and most of the TV we've been watching, honestly, most of the TV we've been watching the last couple months, because now we're watching The Good Omen, jumping a little bit ahead and stuff, going to watch the show Hannah, but most of the TV we've been watching, I can't stop watching Rock Docs. Like,
it's on Amazon Prime.
All on Amazon Prime. So maybe, the other interesting thing is a comedian pointed out recently, or maybe it was a while ago and I just heard it, all these faith healers don't seem to be making many swinging by the children's hospitals, do they?
Yeah, it's more of a self-serve kind of thing. You have to show up to them. You pay a fee, and I don't know.
But just once, if one faith healer walked into one of these St. Jude's hospital and just healed one kid.
Yeah, you'd think. But yeah, so as far as this televangelist video going viral, great. Maybe it'll deter one person from saying, hey, wait a minute.
No, it won't.
I shouldn't give my money to that televangelist, but there's 7 more over here.
They're the real deal.
Yeah. Anyway.
So let's dive a little bit into the awful. I don't know if it's as awful. It's just comical. It's sad that it's comical. This is our leader. The highlight of my week this week. Monday was tough, by the way. Last Monday was tough. The Bruins lost, and Jeopardy James's run came to an end. I mean, it was last Monday. Pretty dark times around our household.
Yeah. Did you shed a tear?
Dude, I like greatness. It's like I remember the first time Tiger Woods won the Masters, and I think I'd only been out in LA for 2 years. I never watched golf in my life, and I don't really think I've ever watched golf since. Watch a whole round of golf from start to finish. But the last day, going into it, I remember watching that and just being blown away. I mean, that was a moment. Same thing with when you get fucking caught up watching Luge,
yes.
every 4 years, and the Cinderella story out of nowhere about to win the Masters. It's in the whole that stuff I like.
So yeah, Jeopardy James Holzhauer, he was 60,000 shy of breaking Ken Jennings' all-time record, and he came up short. I saw the episode. He was beat by a woman who was a librarian. Her name's Emma. I forget her last name. She only actually lasted 3 episodes, so she had a short run. She was smart, but I didn't see the episode where she lost. But the episode that James Holzhauer lost, he was beat. Hands down, she got all the daily doubles, and he didn't. So, and she was gutsy. She was down by, I think, on her first daily double, or maybe it was her second, she was down by half. Her total was like half of what James's total was. And she went, like, I mean, it's like $7,000. It was like substantial. And she was like, true daily double. Like, she put it all on the line. And she got the question right. So, or the answer right. No, the question, rather. And whatever, Jeopardy, he says. And so she then, became like within striking distance of James's total. And then she got the other daily doubles. He didn't get any questions wrong, but he wasn't answering as fast as he was on previous games. So at the end of the game, it was him at like 25,000, and she was in the ballpark, like maybe a few $1,000s shy, or I forget.
She went for it all,
she went for it all, and then he, she went for it all, and I think actually she had the lead. I think she had the lead going into Final Jeopardy, and she bet it all. And she won, or very close to it all. Maybe it was it all. And the third place guy had like $17,000. So it didn't really matter. I mean, she bet it all, and she was in first place. She was just mathematically going to win. People were thinking that there was some sort of like conspiracy because his bet was surprisingly low. Like he wagered somewhere like between $1,000 and $2,000 or something like that. But I think he figured the only way he could win was if she bet it all and lost, and that he bet just enough to beat the third place guy if he had bet it all. Yeah.
Yeah, because he doesn't make mistakes with numbers.
No, he's not. He's kind of a numbers guy. He's kind of known for that.
He likes to watch Wapner.
Yeah. So, he was just flat out beat. He didn't lose. He didn't throw in the towel. He was just flat out beat. And that's your recap of Jeopardy, James.
Thank you. I was bummed though. I
think a lot of people were bummed.
I didn't, expect. Honestly, I didn't expect him to get the title for the 48 wins in a row. I didn't know if he would get
45,
there.
Right?
45. But I was really hoping to get the numbers, the money thing. As I'm sure he was.
Yes, yeah. I think he likes money.
But when he got the 2,000 for coming in second that day, he must have been like.
Well, it's not like he just walked away with $2,000. He walked away with 2.6 mil, some cool number like that. So he's good. And did you see his avatar on Twitter the next day?
No.
It was Weird Al Yankovic from the music video "I Lost on Jeopardy." And Al called it out too. He's like, "I like your avatar."
That's great.
Yeah,
good for him.
So sometimes missed it by that much.
Would you believe? All right, back to the awful.
Oh, really?
Just wait a second. Well, out of all the lowlights, what was your highlight of this week's lowlights from Donnie Two Scoops visit to the UK?
Oh, to the UK. We're not going to talk about the D-Day celebration either, but I guess we'll just start.
We'll brush over. Yeah.
So, I mean, the highlight of the lowlights was the online comparison between his tuxedo get up to the guy
when you see it in the magazine and when you try it on.
No, there's that. But then it's like somebody commented and then made a caption about it. He looks like he's about to perform an opera that Bugs Bunny's about to ruin.
Okay. I saw that one. I saw the 2-panel meme where it's Obama basically wearing the same tux, and he looks fantastic.
Yes.
I mean, he's a great looking guy, in great shape. And then it's like when you see it online and when you get it in the mail. But the best of this was the photoshopping of the Burger King hat in the back.
Yeah, he's standing next to the Queen. He's in a tux and she's in her regalia, and then he's just got a Burger King hat crown on.
So
I hate him.
The taxpayers flew over his whole family, his whole adult family, and they take a group photo of all, his 5 kids, all of them from immigrants, first generations, with their spouses. And the 2 things that I love is how many people online circled and put a big red arrow to the sign that says no photos. Like where they decided in Buckingham Palace, let's take this family photo, is right next to a sign that asks you not to take photos. But my favorite one is like, they looked like the Von Trump family had grown up and sided with the Nazis.
Von Trapp family.
The Von Trapp family.
These are the Von Trumps.
The other Von Trumps. Sorry, I blew that. But yeah, that was the one. Then he goes over to Ireland, where they requested that the prime minister come to his golf course for a meeting. And, you know, the spokesperson is like, we're not doing a commercial for your golf course. You would not. Tell you what, there's a VIP lounge at the airport. We'll meet you there. And that's literally as much as the Irish prime minister would do. And the first thing he tells him, and literally, the things that Bloatus doesn't understand, that I barely understand, but the whole thing with Brexit and how it affects Ireland and Northern Ireland. Fun fact, there's been some shakiness in that relationship for, doing the math, carry the
100-something years.
Ever, you know. And he was talking about their wall. There is no wall. The other thing, back to the UK, you know, it shouldn't make us happy how many people come out to protest him with the giant diaper baby balloon and the animatronic of him on a toilet tweeting and stuff like that. You saw all that.
Yeah.
And he says, all the thousands of people that came out to, you know, welcome me, and all these photos of when the caravan goes down the street and they have all the barricades to hold the crowd, and there's not one person. Like, there's literally nobody.
Yeah.
Then he says, I didn't see any protest. Oh, well, that's because your eyes were shut.
Yeah, he also didn't see any USS McCain's either.
Dude, see, I didn't want to go down this hole that much, but seriously, what the...
That wasn't his request, by the way. That was somebody on behalf of the White House making the request preemptively, trying to protect the president from any imagery that might upset him. Dude. Any war hero reminders that might upset him.
At what point do the people in the military who support him say, you know what? The Con Gold Star family, the not a war hero, the banning trans. It's like you just go down the list. At one point, when do they start to say, you know, maybe he's not so pro-military, you know?
No, he's pro-military. I mean, if you saw the D-Day.
He's pro-a military complex, but...
I mean, I watched the D-Day speech. I actually woke up early on D-Day, not for this, but just coincidentally, and I turned on the TV. It was 5:30 in the morning, and over there it was like 11:30 in Normandy, and President Macron is giving his speech, and I actually kind of got teary-eyed when he turned around to the surviving D-Day veterans, the big crowd behind him, and he said in English, I just want to say from my country, from myself, thank you. And, you know, I was like, oh, that's very nice, and, you know... But then he gets up and he starts talking, and Donald Trump, that is. And he's blathering on. I'm checking my Twitter and just thinking of anything else, but this is the president that's representing the United States on D-Day, the 75th anniversary of D-Day. Like the one time the 75th anniversary of D-Day is going to pass, and this asshole is the guy that's up there holding the mic. But I'm also thinking to myself, A, he must love these war heroes because they never got captured. And B, most of these guys behind him, even though they fought, and they're the greatest generation and they fought for freedom, most of those guys are probably big Trump supporters. Like, that's a MAGA rally by proxy.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, these guys are great. We owe them a debt of gratitude for eternity. Even long after they've shuffled off this mortal coil, we should honor them. But these guys would vote for Trump a second term. Right.
I mean, well, let's face it. I mean, I've said it 1,000 times. I'm not a fan of McCain or his politics or him as a person, you know, post-Vietnam War, but it doesn't take away from the fact that, you know, the sacrifice that he made. And also this week, I mean, you know, in the same time over there, he does an interview and he says, yeah, he didn't go to Vietnam because he didn't agree with the war. But yet, you know, it's everything about it is stomach turning. Well, everything about it is stomach turning.
I think what really upset me at the end was after his speech, Trump's going around and shaking the veterans' hands behind him on D-Day, at the D-Day ceremony. And some people are saluting him. Like some of these veterans who would salute, like, you know, their superior officers. I guess, yes, he is the commander-in-chief. They're saluting him, and I'm like, motherfuckers. There's got to be this one guy. Like, does it have to be him?
Well, it just fuels into his ego.
Yeah.
I mean,
and also that imagery, he could like dine on that through the next election.
Right. The other yeah, I know. I mean,
I'm stress eating these EL fudges, by the way.
The thing is, it's like you're listening to him speak. I can't. Like, as soon as when I listen to the news, it doesn't matter if I'm listening to MSNBC and they're playing a clip from him. I have to turn down the volume if I'm in the car, or if I have the remote, I just hit mute. I cannot hear his voice anymore. But the whole thing is, he literally didn't shit his pants. So people are like, oh, he did great there, but he's on foreign soil. He's standing next to the Irish prime minister and he's going like the name calling of every bit of, decorum. Like every Republican, Democrat, whoever, the old tried and true thing is politics into our shores. So when you go abroad, you're not supposed to bring the politics with you. And he's calling Nancy Pelosi names and just being a complete himself, just a complete douche nozzle, as he tends to be. But it's like, and you can even see the prime minister is just like looking at him like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? And it's great because what had upset him so much is, Nancy Pelosi, who still isn't 100% behind impeachment. And I get politically why she's kind of wavering a bit. I don't agree, but I know, I understand what her thought process is. But she says, I guess she says, because there's no recording of it, because if people said in a private meeting, she said she doesn't want to see him impeached. She wants to see him in prison. And that night, Sean Hannity goes off saying how inappropriate it is, that it's a lack of decorum, and that only in a banana republic would you talk about locking up your political opposition and your political rivals. And it's just...
And was there a line at the bridge near your house when people like jumping off, like, I can't. You can't,
right.
What do we...
How many locker-up chants was he a part of at Trump rallies?
Mm-hmm.
That he led the chant, because he, at a lot of Trump rallies, would introduce him and start the chant. It's just so beyond.
That's the hypocrisy for you.
So we're not going to talk about we talked about it enough last week. It is true. There is a war on women. We are in the Handmaid's Tales. I've always been very happy that I've had a penis. Probably the thing I like best about myself.
Are you proud of that?
I very much am so proud of it.
Why does it have to be in Boston?
Dude, seriously.
It doesn't take away from the stigma that's already attached to Boston and massholes. That this cocksucker. I'm sorry. I shouldn't even say that.
Shouldn't even say that.
Oh my God, what's wrong with me? I'm part of them.
Nothing.
No, there is. Something is.
No.
This idiot.
Dude, the irony of
what
irony.
What are we blathering about?
This is the first day. Oh, this is Pride Month.
Yes, it is.
Happy Pride Month to you.
Happy Pride Month. I guess.
And I'm not even going down that the administration had sent a memo out that embassies around the globe are not to fly pride flags.
Right.
Where the Obamas lit up the White House, like literally had a light show, with a rainbow. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Little bit of a different administration. But this is a state, Massachusetts, that first had marriage equality, or as I like to call it, marriage. And Pride's always been a big thing. I mean, I think they've had this is a 49th Pride parade in Boston, and the first annual straight. Is it straight Pride?
It's the straight Pride parade. It's supposed to take place at the end of August. It's the same dickhead group that tried to do that little neo-Nazi rally kind of thing. I don't know if it was like a white pride thing. It was like mass sort of. It was really neo-Nazi, but it was mass of something else that they was doing.
We took the oldest one to go.
That was the protest, right, against that dickhead and that the group of 12.
I'm trying to think what it was called.
Yeah, I don't care what it was called, but that happened in Boston Common last year. So it's the same group, and I guess free speech, right to assemble, whatever. If they get a permit, I guess, but that doesn't mean that tens of thousands of people. First of all, tens of thousands of people may or may not protest against this group. whether they want to take the time to do so. Second of all, you know when I like to have my parades? In the most humid time of year in Massachusetts, the end of August, hurricane season, essentially.
It's funny because, there's a gay sports, and I'm not making fun of him or his name. His real name is Alex Reamer, and he's on WEEI. He had said, "Wait, didn't they just have another straight pride parade February 8th?"
Right, that's the Patriots parade.
Don't we have those annually anyway?
Yeah, I know we're due for one in a couple of weeks, aren't we? Let's see, God willing.
And
we'll get to that later.
But it reminded me of Patton Oswalt had a great routine. His friend, who's gay, from Ohio, he went back to visit his nephew or his family, and has a nephew who's gay, and he took him aside, and he was like, hey, how's things going at school? And he's in high school, and the kid was like, well, it's really hard. And he goes, I know how hard, it can be, blah, blah, blah. So tell me what's going on. He's like, and the biggest complaint, he says, well, my LGBT club at school, was told that we couldn't have our prom the same night that the regular prom is. And his friend goes, it's like, wait a minute. First of all, you have a club that's sanctioned by the school, and you can't have your prom the same night. It's like the decorations alone will shame, and I'm thinking about that. It's like, how do you think these floats are going to be at prom? What do you think? What do they think is going to happen? Do they really think more than a couple dozen, meatheads are going to show up to this?
At the straight pride parade? I mean, it's their, it's obviously, it's a white supremacy rally. It's not really, it has not, there may be a couple of, Latinos, I'm sure, will be walking the straight pride parade. They may be, in the back with brooms.
Cleaning up.
Yeah, exactly. But I can't imagine that anybody that isn't a straight white male and their Oakley sunglass wearing wives are going to, and girlfriends are going to be walking this thing. It's unusual, to say the least.
Are you going? Because
hell yeah,
I think that will be the best parade.
I love a parade.
Oh, dude, but like you said it's like, well, maybe it takes a focus off of Boston being racist for a day. Maybe hey, we're not a bunch of racists. We're also a bunch of homophobes. So
maybe it's a quota thing. Maybe Boston, because they have a budget for all these parades now, that it's sort of a use it or lose it. So they got to throw the parade money around. Yeah, whether or not it's going to be sports related or straight parade related.
And it is great because the 12 guys who are like the founders or whatever. There was they were all on one panel, like I saw it on Twitter, and it's like this person like, I don't want to sound racist, but I can't tell these guys apart. When they do, they all look the same.
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I look a lot like those. I'm like, if I wore the Oakley sunglasses too, they all have the stupid beard and all little
the shaved head,
heavy set. Yeah, with minus the shaved head, it's like, yeah, I could fit in. It's like, oh man,
right? Right. So where's that straight pride now? Yeah, see, where's your Messiah now?
We're not doing a self-indulgent theater this week. I couldn't think of anything that could top this week, the Paul Lynde. I went back and listened to it 3 times. Like, I
could have done much better.
Dude, no. I'm trying to think the line that I almost laughed over it that got me.
Regrets? It's the Jews. Is it that one?
That was great. And then it's like, I've had my fill and Mike and Larry's.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, it's the verbiage or the way it lined up, like not syllable by syllable, but yeah, not
beat
syllable
to beat.
Yeah,
the cadence.
The cadence. Thank you. Dude, it was great.
Thank you. Maybe I shouldn't have juxtaposed my shitty rendition of Paul Lynde with the actual Paul Lynde doing a commercial right after that.
No, that was for Dynamo.
Secret Square.
For Dynamo.
Yeah, Uncle Paul. But Uncle Paul.
Yeah, that was fantastic. So we can't top it.
Good. We can only tie it.
So when I think of something that I would, you still haven't really worked on your Charles Nelson Riley. So at one point,
I think I broke into Charles Nelson Riley during my Paul Lynde.
Have they ever appeared in anything together?
I don't think so.
We're going completely off the rails, but I want to find out.
I think they have. I think, that's sort of like a. You remember when Al Pacino and Robert De Niro didn't appear together in anything, even when they did the movie Heat?
Right.
They weren't in the same shot together.
They had like the quintessential scene from that movie.
Yeah, and they were separately shot. Yeah. I think that's the same thing with Paul Lynde and Charles Nelson Riley. Never the twine shall meet twain.
Are they the same person?
No, they are not. They had the competing game shows. Come on, man.
Did they?
Are you just going to answer my answers with questions?
Am I?
Are you an asshole?
Yeah.
All right, good. There we go.
Yeah, I just know. Is this a defunct sponsor of the week?
Hey, Pop, where did you get this nifty T-shirt?
At Store 24, Elroy boy. It's a radioactive T-shirt from WBCN.
Wow! Can I have it, Pop?
I'm sorry, Elroy. This one's for Mr. Spacely.
Come on, Pop. Can I please? Can I have it? Can I?
Okay, Elroy. Here you go.
Thanks, Pop. Bye.
Oh, the phone. I'll get it. Jetson speaking.
Jetson, where's that BCN T-shirt I told you to get for me?
Mr. Spacely, I just gave it to my son.
What?
But I can get another one for you at Strawberries Records and Tapes.
That shirt wasn't for me, Jetson. It was for my wife.
Huh?
You know what this means, don't you, Jetson?
I think I do, sir.
You're fired.
The future is yours in a radioactive WBCN T-shirt from GravTech Sportswear Printers in Natick and 104 FM WBCN.
All right, Joe. I don't even want to talk sport. As we are posting this, I am either giddy for Game 7. No, I'm not giddy. As you know it is true. Do I at all enjoy watching Boston sports teams?
Why do you watch sports ever?
I don't know. Like, I truly...
I think it's the same reason I play video games.
Truly don't enjoy it.
If you saw me play video games, you'd be like, why are you doing this to yourself? Like, why are you yelling at yourself, yelling at the team? Like, what are you doing? Like, do something that doesn't make you feel bad.
Awful. I mean, I enjoy listening to sports radio and talking about games after they win. But the actual process, and I like talking about games before they happen, but the actual watching of the game, and have we talked on the show that by the posting of this, I'm going to be 50, and how much of a negative impact it has on my life when my teams don't win. I mean,
it has a kind of a negative impact even when they do win.
Yeah, because I amp up the asshole and the obnoxiousness.
It's damned if you do, damned if you don't in your house.
But I'd rather the damned if they do. And so as we're recording this, the Bruins are getting ready for Game 6. They are down in the series 3-2. I am not going to bitch about the reffing in Game 5, which was horrible.
It was the one bad call.
It was a couple. So for the second time in this series, a Blues player has been suspended for an action on the ice that they didn't even call a penalty for. So if you get suspended, it's because you elbowed somebody in the head and the back, something egregious. But the refs missed it in Game 1, which caused a suspension for Game 2, or was Game 2 that caused suspension for Game 3. Mm-hmm. And in Game 3, they came out. They won 7-2. They had 4 power play. They had 4 power plays, scored 4 power play goals on 4 shots. We were all.
I think we even had a shorthanded goal.
Yeah, and it was disgustingly. It was varsity playing junior varsity. They were up 2-1, and that was the series. And literally, people are like, "There's no way it goes past Game 5." Well, they went on to lose the last 2 games, so they're down now. So, yes, there was another egregious elbow to the head that the refs missed. And you see from whatever angle you're looking at it.
Well, wasn't it the slashing call you talked?
No, I'm talking about the
tripping?
The tripping.
Yeah.
There's 2 different calls, but there was an elbow in the game that wasn't called. There was not a 2-minute penalty call. But upon further review, the NHL said that's worth a game suspension. To suspend somebody in the Stanley Cup Finals is a pretty fucking big deal. But the refs didn't even think it was worth 2 minutes in the game. And then the tripping call, which was no matter how many angles, like the Blues tried to say, oh, he dove. He took both feet out. It wasn't like 1 foot from behind. He took both feet out, and then while the Bruin players are on the ice, they score a goal. So not only did they not call the penalty, they score taking advantage of the guy having been tripped. And yes, that's horrible, but when you only score 1 goal at home in a playoff game, yes, horrible calls, but
they played like shit.
You scored 7 goals against the same team just a couple games before.
They played like shit.
They played like shit. And like even Belichick always says, because I always come back to Belichick, you shouldn't be in a position where 1 call decides the game. You know, if you don't want the refs to decide the game, be up by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, like the tuck rule.
Right. No, but however you look at it, it's like, well, yes, that one rule worked out in favor for them type thing. But there are so many times where if you score 1 goal at home in a playoff game and the refs missed a couple calls or a couple calls went against you and you lose 2-1, it's not their fault you put 1 goal up on the board. You have the highest scoring line in hockey for the season.
They were up shots on goal though. I mean, they
yeah.
It's, I mean.
No, their goalie played. Their goalie since giving up the 7 goals has been lights out. He's been great. He's been absolutely great. But again, I'm not going to say that the refs were good, but that's not the reason. That's not the sole reason you lost these last 2 games. You know, so we're going into as this drops. You know, Game 6 will have been played. So either we're getting ready to watch Game 7 Wednesday at my mom's house. Or
we're mourning the death of Jacques.
I went to the rickety stool and rope store,
and they weren't sold out. Surprisingly,
I beat you there. I did mention the Patriots. I said we weren't going to talk about them, and we really won't. Except they did have their ring ceremonies at. You saw all the pictures.
Yes,
dude. When you see Belichick there with 8 rings. You know, his 2 from the Giants. And you think, oh, that first one was in 1986. So in the last 32 Super Bowls, this motherfucker has won 25% of all Super Bowls played in the last 30 years.
He's good at his job, apparently.
Really good. And he lost. What do we want to talk about? The 3 he didn't win. I mean, the guy literally has coached in more than 33% of the last 30 Super Bowls. It's mind numbing, dude. And it's like, and then of course, Brady's there with like 6 and yeah, it's just you see that and you're like, oh my god. It's like, am I really bitching about the Bruins possibly not winning the cup?
I like that Julian Edelman on Twitter posted a photoshopped version of a Michael Jordan picture where Michael Jordan had 5 rings.
6. He has a famous photo with his 6 rings.
The 6 rings and with his hands to his face. And then somebody photoshopped a version of that with Brady. And Edelman's like, well, can we really get a real photographer to replicate this photo in real life? And Brady retweeted it with a comment saying, dude, I just put the rings away. Do you know how hard it is to get that vault open?
It is. It's crazy. We're lucky, and that's it for sport. That I won't dwell on anything because honestly, I can't. I'm just so much anxiety about Game 6, and that's the thing. I watched the last couple games with the volume off. Like I usually sync it up to the local broadcast, but after the first period, I'm like, So the wife came home. And she was kind of milling around and thought for some reason maybe I was downstairs watching. Didn't realize I was in the living room just sitting in silence watching the game. And she understood. She's just like, I'm just going to go upstairs.
Yeah, I'm back out slowly.
Right.
I actually fell asleep during the second period. I was down in the basement, down here on the couch, all snug as a bug. And I was up early that day, and I was just like, you know what? It's what was it? I think it was 1-0 at the time, and I just went, they got this.
Did you miss anything? No.
Yeah, I missed
sadness.
I missed all the sadness, and I missed Cam Neely chucking something against the wall in response to the non-call.
Yeah, well, the non-call, the fact they scored the goal on the non-call.
That too.
That's the thing.
Okay,
what are you doing video game wise?
Well, let's see. I think since we've last spoke, I think I 100%ed both Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2 on the Wii. So good for me. Other than
Wii?
That, yeah, the old, this old rickety thing over here from way back in 2007. Playing some of that, and then what else am I doing? And I played a little bit of Tetris this morning on Tetris 99 on the Switch. Not much else. I'm over. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm overwhelmed. I look at all the choices I have to play video games in my free time, of which I should not have this much free time, but yet I do. And instead, I'm just watching like reruns of All in the Family. Like I'm becoming old man.
No,
I think I'm older than you. and I've surpassed your.
In fairness, you've always been. You've always been much older than me.
You were born older. How's that?
See. Who quotes that? Who's 40? No one. No, sorry, one person.
Yeah, 41.
But you were born older.
Yeah.
No, look. I told you, I've gone down the wormhole of watching all these rock docs of bands I don't really care about. But generally speaking, like last night, it's the same thing. There was a bunch of shows. I'm like, I could watch this. Wife and I started watching Good Omen, which is good. The problem is I started watching it with the wife, which means I can't watch episode number 2 because it became our show, which The Flash and Arrow have, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which means we're 3-4 years behind on all of those.
My wife is actually, now that she's off of school, my wife, please, do I have to do the stupid Borat voice every goddamn time when I talk about my wife? So she's watching the Arrowverse in chronological order. So she's entered Black Lightning. So she's, watched like the first couple of episodes of Black Lightning. So I think she's early... It's at 2017, so I think she's ahead of you, right? As far as if my calculations are correct, unless you're watching other shows, like you're watching Legends of Tomorrow, you're just not watching Arrow
because she didn't get into Legends of Tomorrow, and I didn't kind of push that. Up to speed on Legends of Tomorrow, up to speed on Black Lightning, up to speed on Gotham, which isn't in that universe, but Gotham, and there's one more. There's one more that she's not up to speed on that I've watched.
Flash?
No, it's Flash, Arrow. I guess that's
Supergirl?
it. Supergirl, thank you. So Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, I'm 100% up to speed on. It's just Arrow and Flash that we're a season behind on 2 seasons behind on Arrow and 1 on Flash. But, yeah, I mean, that's a commitment. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're talking... at least 300 hours of television.
Yeah. I mean, she's, using...
what I did on my summer vacation.
She's using the list online where they have the chronological order. And it's fascinating how it's all broken out and how, like, 2 episodes... like, there was, 2 episodes were on the same day, and because I guess there's a block of programming sometimes on one evening.
Every year for 4 seasons, they've done crossovers between all of them. Even though Supergirl is on a different and the multiverse is on a different planet or a different realm of existence.
Okay, in a parallel universe.
Thank you for the people. You don't watch the show. I do. I couldn't think of the big boy word. Yes, she is in a parallel universe that only Flash or her can travel between because of their use of the Speed Force.
I'm going to shut up now. Speed Force works.
So that does bring. Oh no, we're still in the video game. So
what are you doing for video games?
Nothing. Good. Like honestly, since getting back from Phoenix this morning was the first time because we moved the systems. We have an opening in the palatial mansion, so everything has been moved downstairs. And yeah, I just don't want to go down.
I just thought of a cute name for your house. Like everybody has like a nickname for their house. Yours can be the Jacques Mahal. I don't know. No,
I want to buy management, but I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. So literally, I haven't even been playing Tetris on my phone. I think I've just been too upset.
You call yourself an American?
Fuck yeah. Coming to save
motherfucking day.
Yeah. Bed Bath & Beyond.
Walmart.
Fuck yeah.
Slavery.
Fuck yeah. That's the one. It's like
I got to rewatch that movie again.
It's so good.
It's so good. Oh my god! And the behind the scenes stuff is great. I just remember the over and over when Matt Stone is trying to describe the intricacies of working with such cumbersome puppets, and he at the end of the spiel he just goes, "Puppets can't do shit." So now Jacques going to do his cardio for the week and walk over to my video game wall where, if my calculations are correct, I will bore 100% of the audience with my voice regaling a bad review of a game I probably haven't played. That's 30 years old. That's completely irrelevant. This is literal waste of time. All of this. Like this whole podcast, yeah, it could be, some can consider a waste of time, some can consider it, a service.
A waste of time and space.
Yeah. This is a waste of time, space, and the space-time continuum. So now I got to guess which game you pulled off the wall. It's an S game.
S words.
Yeah, right. I'll take S words.
I'll take swords.
That's S words. Let's see. It could be. It's not a super game. It doesn't have a super in the title. I think it's either SP. Oh man, I don't know. It's not Spy Hunter. I'm gonna say I don't give a fuck. Oh, is it Star Tropics?
It is Star Tropics.
I noticed it because of the gold label on the back.
Ooh, there's a story behind that.
Is there?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Why didn't you notice a gold label? It's not a golden ticket. Run home, Joe. Run home as fast as you can.
This is actually a fun game. It's available actually for play. If you have Nintendo Online for the Switch, you can play this as part of the Nintendo Entertainment System software, available to all people who have the Nintendo Online subscription. Star Tropics is a top-down isometric, I guess, game. Not really isometric. It's a top-down adventure game. Kind of Zelda-ish, but takes place in quote-unquote modern day. You're a kid who is visiting an island that is owned by his uncle, or his uncle lives on the island, and he's gone missing. And so the other people in his village say he's gone missing. Please go help find him. And here's a map, I think. I don't even know if they gave him a map. But you're on your way. You have to go fight monsters, and you're equipped with a yo-yo as your weapon of choice, is a yo-yo.
Yo-yos were invented as a weapon.
Oh, wow.
Fun.
I
always feel like a Cliff Clavin when I
I don't know if you know this, but yo-yo is actually a tribal weapon used by the yo-yo-ites, the yo-yo-mas. So yeah, you have it's an unusual game. It's the music is kind of repetitive. The gameplay is okay. You move from, there's a weird jumping mechanism where you don't jump, but you hop. If you have to hop from one tile over the water to another tile, you have to sort of press one. It's a weird it's a weird mechanism. It's not very super intuitive. You kind of get used to it. And I don't know. And then there's a point where you have to, and there's a bit of copy protection or interactivity with real life things. So when this game originally shipped, it came with a letter from your uncle, and it had a clue in the letter that you had to use in order to progress through the game. There's a code number that can only be revealed if you dip the letter that came packed with the game in water, and then you have to enter that number at a certain point in the game to get to the next level. And so that was, interesting. I mean, I'm sure, a letter like that letter is probably, worth at least $2 now if you were to get that untouched. And then on the online version for Nintendo's Switch version, I think they have the letter somehow packaged into the software. I forget how they incorporated it. I don't really care. So anyway, Star Tropics is a game. It garnered a sequel. Star Tropics 2, Zoda's Revenge. I guess Zoda was the boss from the original Star Tropics. But it's a decent game. There's some dungeon crawling.
But you have played it.
I have played it. I got to a point.
Unlike your the forward to your review this week is you're pretty sure you haven't played the game.
Yeah, and I'm wrong again. Proving myself wrong every podcast. So Star Tropics, good game. I'm going to say that Pat Contry, the author of Ultimate NES Guide to the Ultimate Nintendo Guide to the NES Handbook, he probably gave it 4 stars. And I'm right. And this was not reviewed. This particular review was not done by Pat. It was done by another person, apparently. Mixing action, adventure, and RPG elements, this game's a rich experience. Teenager Mike visits the tropical Sea Island to see his uncle, but said uncle's been kidnapped. Thus, Mike embarks on his journey, carrying a deadly yo-yo. There is a ... there. The overworld map has RPG-esque chibi-style sprites. Look that word up. And there's a separate battle environment with normal proportions. Both are in overhead perspective and move on a grid. So there you go, Star Tropics. And you can play it if you have the Switch and Nintendo Online.
Nice. And if you really, really wanted to have it for your NES system and you didn't already own it and you wanted to go to the eBays, you would pay...
What is $10?
$6.99 used plus 7 plus 3 shipping.
Yeah, there you go.
Right
Bam,
on the money.
right on the money.
Yes, I won both showcases. Great.
No, this is great. See, more enjoyable than you thought. Enjoyable for me, and not just because I get to look at booby pics on the internet while you're reading the Pat Contry stuff. That's not true. I only wish I was looking at movie pics. What are
and
you
now sound the wake up alarm for those listening at home.
What are you watching this week, other than reruns of All in the Family?
I wish I could say something else. No, what was I finished Chernobyl on HBO. 5 parts, very well done.
Or was it well done? Because I've heard some people aren't thrilled with it.
Apparently, the government of Russia didn't like the way they were portrayed in the HBO documentary about Chernobyl, so apparently they're taking it upon themselves to produce their own Chernobyl documentary or miniseries, where apparently they blame the CIA for impeding either the response to Chernobyl or the actual disaster itself. I can't tell you which.
Now, are you sure that the Russian government wasn't upset with the ending of Game of Thrones that they wanted to have redone and they signed the petition, or that it's Chernobyl? Because I can see that thin line between.
I'm pretty sure that they did not like Chernobyl. The Russian government does not come out well. But apparently, honestly, this miniseries, not only accurately portrays what the interplay was between the scientists, the people running the plant, and the government of Russia at the time, how all of that politics works, but it's really an allegory for climate change denial. Now, basically, a government is putting out their truth as opposed to what the scientists are saying. Like, this is why Chernobyl happened. It was because of cost-cutting measures by the Russian government. The Russian government said, no, this isn't happening. It's not the way you say it is, Mr. Scientist. The scientist eventually kills himself because he killed himself because if you fucking stop it.
But
I know
seriously,
this is a long.
I mean, it's the Russians.
He killed himself because he probably the guilt that he felt for not being able to foresee this or whatever, but also he was slowly dying of radiation poisoning because he was on site after the fact. He was essentially the third responder there. But he also, I won't get into it. He killed himself, but his suicide actually led to the discovery of what really happened because he had recorded all of his findings on tape and hid the tape or put the tapes away, put the tape someplace nearby that other people knew where to find in the case of his death. It's not really clear how the tapes got out but because of his suicide, the press of his suicide forced the Russian government to come clean about what happened in Chernobyl. So they couldn't just sweep it under the rug and blame the CIA and produce their own documentary series. Right. So anyways, get HBO just for that, or, get an HBO Go.
Or wait till the Russians put out the real truth.
Right.
That will be embraced by...
On InfoWars.
that Donnie Two Scoops will take their side of it and probably throw the CIA under the bus and say what a bunch of douchebags they are.
What were you watching this week?
Not my will to live wither away as the Bruins lose 2 games to a team they shouldn't have swept, but should have beaten 5. And now if they win it, will have to be 7. But the movie Assimilate is now on all demand options. So if you got a smart TV, just hit the little blue speaker, say Assimilate, and it's there to purchase for $10. And that's what bought it this week. Haven't watched it because I watched Captain Marvel again and Infinity War again. And
what else? It's on the notes.
Oh, thank you. I watched one episode of Jeffrey Ross's new historical roast. Have you seen him?
I've seen the first 3. And I hope the one that you saw was the one that I wanted you to see.
I didn't watch the Gilbert one. Because there was a lot going on. So I'm like, I want to enjoy that one, because it has Anne Frank and Hitler.
It's the best one. Like, I've watched the first 3 so far. The Anne Frank one is the best one. So you tell the people what the premise of the Jeff Ross historical roast show is.
It's exactly what it sounds. They dig up, or they bring some people from different walks of history. I watched the Freddie Mercury one, and Freddie Mercury was roasted by David Bowie, Kurt Cobain, and Princess Diana.
Right, and who played David Bowie?
David Bowie was played by the one and only Seth Green, who I absolutely love.
He did a really good job.
He did a great job.
And Nicole, what's her name? Oh man, do I suck? But she played Kurt Cobain. What's her name?
She was great.
She was on Dancing with the Stars just recently. Not that helps anybody. She had that show on Comedy Central.
I don't think there's a lot of crossover between Dancing with the Stars and people.
I was born old. I was born stupid, man.
But people who listen to this by mistake and watch Dances with the Stars, I don't know.
But he brings out. And then Freddie Mercury was played by James Adomian. He's the guy who plays Bernie Sanders to the Donald Trump. Remember the Bernie Trump
right
tour? So that's James Adomian. He played Freddie Mercury. A little pudgy.
It was fun.
Yeah, I liked it. The first one was Abraham Lincoln with Bob Saget as Abraham Lincoln, and John Stamos, who played John Wilkes Booth, which is that was good. I like that too. But the Anne Frank one was so good. The whole context of it all, like that. John Lovitz playing FDR, and then Gilbert Gottfried as Adolf Hitler. I mean, Gilbert Gottfried as Adolf Hitler. I'm burying the lead here.
Well, the premise is fun. The premise is really fun. So, I mean, Jeffrey Ross has truly, in this day and age, to be able to make such a comfortable living on the roast. It's pretty amazing. So,
and he did that bumping mics thing not too long ago. So he's got like a nice deal with Netflix. He did bumping mics with David Tell, where it was just for 6 episodes. They what was the premise of that? Like they just went up and did like stand up, and then I forget. Did you see the bumping mics?
I did not.
I saw the whole thing and I can't remember the premise. That's how that's how stupid.
That's how good it is.
No, that's how dumb I am.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm much dumber.
Don't take my lines.
The world needs ditch diggers too.
So that's it. Any parenting tip this week?
I'm waiting for yours. I can't parent until you give me the tip. Just the tip.
We are right around the corner. We're a week away from school ending, and the boys are all excited. And my parenting tip, lower expectations. Right out of the gate. We're not doing that. You're not going there. That's not happening. Like, before you get there, just make sure. I mean, I'm not saying lower expectations to the point where they don't want to be out of school for 2 months, but at the same time, don't, it's like, no, you're not playing video games all day, every day, eating snacks and,
you monster.
And having, what's that word? Fun. Just, and like I went the other way. I'm like, okay, we're going to do all these things. We're going to take the road trip. But on the road trip, we are bringing the box set of Signing Time. And we are going to read. And we're not going to. You're not going to do a lot of that. But I'm already setting it up that, hey, we're going to be in the car 12 hours a day, 2 to 3 hours. You're going to have to, get some reading done, get this stuff done. You need some healthy stuff just so they don't get too excited. So when things go sideways a little bit, they're expecting disappointment. So my parenting tip of the week, summer vacation, lower expectations.
It appears the dream squashers are having their dreams squashed.
And that
Nikki Glaser. That's who played Kurt Cobain.
And she was good.
Yes.
But yeah, Seth Green was the show. I mean, I just
God, he was great.
Yeah.
And the sing along at the end with Freddie Mercury with the bouncing, I think it was like a cat, like a bouncing cat.
Completely off topic. Getting back to the self-indulgent theater, when you did John Oliver and you strung the cat up by its tails, you know what you did, Cat. I don't know what made me think of that the other day, but just somebody mentioned John Oliver, and instantly I thought, you know what you did, Cat. I just thought I'd throw that in. So that's it for me. I'm excited that no, I'm not excited about anything. I'm not excited at 50. Not excited that the Bruins have to win the next 2 games to keep
claw
my life
their way back
from having any meaning at all. I'm excited that jam with Dan and Shauna, and that we will be, and so yeah,
give yourself a proper plug. God damn it.
Dan Cray with Beyond Id at Sally O'Brien's in Somerville, Mass. with the Rationales, June 21st.
Now, is that a Wednesday?
It's a Friday.
So
I'll probably
12,
come
12 noon?
Probably we go on about 9. I'm
9
hoping early. What? Hey, can we go up on the stage?
9.
So maybe if we do a Friday recording of this, we can go right from here to there, and you can I don't know.
Would help you unpack, break down drums.
No, that's the best part.
All right,
that's the best part.
So who's closing for you, fellas?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't. Joe Smo.
It's not Gold Star Boulevard.
It is not Gold Star. I should reach out, but that's the thing. It's like
they're on Worcester.
And if we play Ralph's or we play a Lowell again, but we're June. This is the first show we've played this year, so if I can get one more out of Dan, then I'll be very happy.
Keep talking. I'm mid-chew.
But so what was I going to say? I said, we never intro the song we go out on, but I Run Vox is one of the songs that we will be playing. It's off Dan's latest album, Best Ever, which is probably the second best ever. I think the Suburb EP from 2004 is my favorite, but Best Ever is great.
Okay. So what does that mean to play us out? Does that mean to end the show?
I'll just write it myself.
Well, do it live. Fuck it. Fucking thing sucks. I'll write it and I'll do it live. All right. So anyways, thanks for listening. You can follow us at Carnival Personnel. No, you can't, because that's the wrong handle, asshole. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Carnival Podcast. And on Instagram, I'm sure. And I don't know, anybody wants to start like a Grindr account with our name on it? Go right ahead. It is Pride Month after all. And on that note, Jacques, for the love of God, please do yourself a favor and don't forget.
It's everything. It's all the time. The trouble is hers, but lately it's mine. And if it's not real, she can pretend she's out of her mind. And into my head, let's give and let's take what you get. The little mistakes the mind forgets. And when it gets real, it's a hell of a time. She's out of her head and into my mind. Nobody said you've had enough tonight. If they did, it went ignored. Was that love, or were they warning signs? The first sick volley of the war. It's all or nothing, kid. It's what your parents did. You may learn to love it, yeah. The hunger trumps the score when all you need is more. And if you're lucky, you'll forget just how it felt and what it meant when you were lost in loving it. When you were young, you were inspired. The birds were dancing on the wire. Love was what you made when you were born. And nobody said you've had enough tonight. And if they did, it went ignored. Was that love, or were they warning signs? The first sick volley of the war. It's all or nothing, kid. It's what your parents did. And you may learn to love it, yeah. The hunger trumps the score when all you need is more. And if you're lucky, you'll forget just how it felt and what it meant when you were lost in loving it. Nothing's slowing down. You're always away. There's nothing in the sound. There's nothing left to taste. Now that we got you down, it's best to settle in. That's all it takes. Nothing's slowing down. You're always away. There's nothing in the sound.